first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Weatherman, we can't allow any further delay. So stop your waiting.
Well, welcome everybody to the Fox 12 Weather Podcast. This is the real episode 126, from what I understand. I was not here last week. I was sleeping when you guys recorded it because I'm meteorologist Katie Suniga, moved into the morning meteorologist position. So this is the first time I've laid eyes on the both of them since Camilla came back.
Yeah.
And we did our podcast back away. Of course, I'm joined by Chief Meteorologist Mark Nelson. Good morning, Mark.
How you doing? Yeah, that was my fault. I punched in the number one. I think it was somewhere between 124 and 126. We got messed up, folks. So this is the real 126.
The real 126.
Because I'm sure everybody's just keeping tabs, right?
Yeah, I bet.
And then, of course, I'm also joined by almost meteorologist Camilla Ortiz. How much more do you have left?
Oh my gosh, just 2 more semesters. So I'm in the spring
That's it?
semester. Yeah, and then the summer semester, and that's it.
That's exciting. I can't wait to see that. At my previous station, that big switch from just saying Katie Suniga on the lower third to meteorologist.
Yeah, how'd that feel?
That I got chills the first time I saw it go up on air. And then we got an email saying, "Don't lie, you're not a real one."
Oh gosh. People, get a hobby.
I know. So this is my maiden voyage, my first time sort of taking the helm on our podcast. So I kind of filled things in and asked the team to go in and kind of take some of the different topics and put in some stuff. And although Peyton is not here, she did grab those viewer photos for us from this awesome snow.
So what you're saying is basically we were sleeping while you were putting this together.
No, you guys all helped. You did some
In
work.
separate homes, of course.
Yeah, you guys did some work last night while I was sleeping, and then I did some work this morning while you were sleeping.
A team effort.
So, exactly. Yeah. That's what I like. I like the team effort. So we want to start off by recapping our first alert weather days that we just had. Some say it's a bust. I say we got snow. What do you say, Mark?
Oh, I think, big picture, just so everybody knows, out of all this excitement this week, we only had a trace officially at the forecast office, Portland forecast office.
Yeah.
But I would say it's a bust big picture if we were thinking, okay, at some point we'll get snow. But as I recall, Camilla, didn't I at some point in the podcast last week, didn't I say I wouldn't be shocked at all if we didn't get measurable snow in Portland this week? Didn't I say that?
Yeah. Well, and I feel like leading up to the event, we were pretty clear about, higher elevations, we'll probably get some accumulation, but it'll be real spotty at sea level.
And I will say for sure, we knew the best chance was going to be Tuesday, Wednesday. Remember that, Katie? It was kind of like, okay, that's probably the coldest, seems to be the most moisture. And that was our best chance. And that's when most of us saw the stuff that you're mentioning, you're going to show here. But yeah. And so by the day before, by Tuesday, it was pretty obvious, like, get your schoolwork done, kids. I think most of us, our lives are going to continue as normal.
Yeah. So what this graphic that we're showing here is I took some of the images that we had from the night before. So Tuesday night going into Wednesday, and turned it into what you call a GIF. So you can kind of see the clouds moving and what you guys were looking at the night before.
Yeah.
Kind of the quote big event.
And just so everybody knows, I'm driving the graphics. Katie's running the show here. So I'm like she's the captain up on the bridge, and I'm just the commanding officer that implements the orders.
I'm the one with the mop cleaning the deck.
I figured you were down eating in the buffet area.
Yeah, there you go.
You love your food.
I'm in the mess hall.
In the mess hall.
There you go.
There we go.
That. Yeah.
But that's what we were looking at the night before, right? And it was pretty obvious, especially the high res models, not the global ones, but the high res. It was pretty obvious, like, okay, this is going to be weak stuff.
Yeah. And when I came in, so I told you this when we were talking on text, when I came in that morning, the graph was all the way down to 0. It dropped it off completely. And then the euro actually went down to only like a few tenths of an inch. And then a little later in the morning, the next run came in and the graph went up to 1/10.
The deal is, and I've mentioned this on air, and I think I've said this on the podcast as well, but I'm going to say it again. These cool showers coming in off the Pacific Ocean, off the mild Pacific, this onshore flow shower pattern, almost never has it produced any sort of significant snow event in the lowlands. They'd have to be really heavy showers, like, half or 3/4 of an inch of precip in one day to dump some wet snow somewhere. Almost always the south wind kills it. It's not just because it's a south wind, but it's a mixing wind. It's either that or the shower. It's hard to keep us at freezing when the air is coming off the Pacific Ocean. So to get a good snow event here, it either needs to be pretty calm with cold air already in place or a nice easterly wind coming out of the gorge.
Yep. So this was the kind of the multi-model forecast run that we had the night before, anywhere from 1.5 inches to 1/2 inch, which we didn't see none of that.
And the contour there is from the graph. When we show this graphic, it's always the graph, which is the highest res model we have really access to.
Yep. So I started dropping things down that morning once we got through like the 5 and the 6, I was communicating with Andy. We need to back off. We need to stop saying close to 1 inch and just, especially through the metro and valleys because I could just tell it was backing off. And what was really good though, I was proud of this is that when I was looking at when I first came in, it showed everything starting between like 8 and 9.
Yeah, that was interesting, huh?
Yeah. And 8:20, boom, it started.
I'm amazed sometimes. I mean, they don't always nail it. It's hard for models to nail small little mesoscale type things like bands of showers. But I remember the night before was showing a good burst, a little bit first kind of burst around midnight, which happened. We drove home in some snow, some of us that worked the late shift. And then 8, 9, 10 a.m., it was pretty obvious there'd be a surge of precip coming in. So that worked out perfect. And this is the text from the night before, right?
And all I made sure was that it said less than 1 inch. Because I didn't want anybody to, think we were going to be getting sleddable or snowman type snow. But
I do think when people complain, like, two things are going on here. One is, yes, there's a lot of news drama leading up to it. And yes, with these alert days that all the different stations are doing, there was a lot of red on graphics. Let's be honest, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday before. And I think there was a little too much red maybe on some stations. But it was pretty obvious we weren't going to get much. So the second thing in play, I think, is a lot of people want to see some snow. When they don't get it, they're like, oh, it's a bust. Didn't happen. Yeah. It's like, well, we said, I know 2 days ahead of time, I said, I don't think you're going to be sledding in Portland on this snow, which I consider like 1.5 inches or more.
Yeah.
Because a kid here could probably sled on 1.5 inches of snow.
Yeah. And my kids, especially my younger one, was asking, do I get a snow day? Do I get a snow day? And I kept saying, nope. I said, you might get a late start, but nope. He was not happy.
Yeah.
So,
wouldn't you say, Mark, that most of the time, though, I mean, maybe not 90% of the time, but 80% of the time when we have, like you said, this kind of setup, it ends up warming up at the last second, right? And just kind of being a bust.
Yes. Yeah. Or models tend to overdo the accumulations as well. Even the mesoscale, even the high res models tend to overdo the snow accumulations in the lowest elevations in these showers that come in off the ocean.
Yeah.
When it shows a 1/2 inch, there's a good chance nothing's going to happen.
Right. So when I was going through our graphics file, I saw that you had loaded this video in, and I just had to use it. Can you make it go?
No, we can't. Oh wait, can I?
I thought you could.
Oh,
this is a video?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot we have video. Wait a minute. This is from my house, by the way.
Yay!
Wait a minute. I thought we couldn't run videos.
Well, it worked. So
look at that. There's a new boss in town. There's a new captain on the bridge, maybe Admiral.
Look, I loved it. We got a ton, and I know we'll get to the viewer photos later, but I couldn't help it. This was just, to me, it was perfect.
Yeah.
That's sad. # sad. Snow stake sat out there in the sunshine for 2 weeks. Back in I think I put it up in mid-January. I have a camera attached to it so I can see it from work.
Yeah.
And it just sat there, and there's little molehills in the distance. At least they're covered up by snow. But that's the best. I think I had 2 inches or 1.8 inches at home. That's what I call it. So there you go. There's your big snow.
It's pretty, though. It's pretty to look at.
It is.
It was nice.
It's pretty fun. So that's our recap. And then now I want to look ahead toward February. And I have commissioned our dear Camilla to take the reins on this one.
Yeah. So it's fun to kind of go back and see what has happened in years past, because we have, even in recent years, gotten some pretty incredible snow events in February. So just an overview of February weather in Portland. Average high at the beginning of the month, 49. By the end of the month, 54. So we do warm up into the 50s. Rainfall, it's the 5th wettest month in Portland. About 3.7 inches is average, which is similar to March. And on average, we see 1.2 inches of snow But this is interesting. Measurable snow in 6 of the last 10 Februaries, just kind of impressive. So you could say maybe we were due for a 0. I shouldn't say we were due because it's still February. We could still see things happen. Yes. But gosh, Mark and I were looking at the 2023 big event. That was wild. So we got 10.8 inches that February. So we're talking about 2023. And
most of it in one day, of course.
Most of it in one day. So what was the official, was it 10 point something at PDX?
Might have been 10.1 because I forget if we had more snow in that month.
Yeah, I think a few days later, because that was on like the 22nd or something. Wait, a few days later, there was kind of a sloppy follow-up snow.
No, it was all in the same, it was all the same day. I forgot the airport didn't get. Yeah, there it is. Second rank there. Okay.
Yeah. So that was a wild one because that was one where models were all over the place. And it was only like, what was it, like 2? Like the Canadian and one other one that was saying, oh, this is going to be like almost a foot of snow, shut down the city, buckle up, kids.
That Hydrops model or Hydrops model came in and it had somewhere above 20 inches in the metro that evening before. Or was it a day or so before?
Yeah.
And then there were hints. Yeah, Camilla and I looked through this, Katie, just last night. Or Camilla was looking at it. She was getting real geeky, let me tell you. And she's looking through my old blog posts, which are a great resource because I archived them all the way back to the late 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And, fun fact, I've mentioned this multiple times, but this happened like 2 weeks after I started.
That's right.
I had just finished my training and I had 1 week and it came in on the one day that the 3 of us work together or did on my old schedule. And it just happened to be in the evening. Like the timing for me was all the stars aligned and I was supposed to go to the east side of the river. And I didn't even make it to the zoo because it came in so fast and so quick. I don't even think I was to 217. Like we got on here at the station, headed east, and we were stopped dead by the time we got down just a couple miles. Like it was insane.
I believe that was the one. I don't remember, Camilla, if you saw that on a blog post. Was this the one where at like 11 a.m. I saw we had the cold air. The east wind was coming in, always the big thing. The cold air was coming in. And I said, oh, okay, I'm concerned. Calmly head home.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you see that? Was that the one?
This is the one.
That was the one. You were like, if you want to be extra safe, maybe just go home now.
And by 3 p.m. things were starting to really happen. I think I recall the east side got pretty snowy, but the west side took a while to get going. But
that's right.
By 3 and 4 p.m. it was over.
Yeah,
it was over. It was happening.
Yeah, yeah. And we stayed pretty frozen. It looked like for a few days with that east wind just continuing to keep us nice and cold. So yeah, that was a wild one. So anyway, that was fun to check out. But yeah, so
that was the big ice storm.
Here. Yeah,
2021. That was the one where we had a bunch of snow, and then where the cold air was thinner in the South Metro and the Valley. Huge ice storm. Probably Salem to Woodburn and Wilsonville. That was probably the biggest ice storm since the 1940s. There was a big one, I think, in 1942.
And that was the one where we had a ton of power line issues, right? I remember that being the main kind of news component of it was the power outages were crazy with that one.
From the ice, yeah. Like where I live on the east side, no ice. It was just snow and no issues. But man, the south side where the layer was thinner, huge mess. 2018 and 19, those were kind of like what we have now, where we had a northerly flow and we kept getting little weather systems moving through. None of them were huge storms. As I recall, neither of those shut the city down. But, there were several days of disruption those 2 years in mid to late February.
Yeah.
No.
And 2014 was a shut the city down event as well. By the way, Katie, I need a TV graphic. Because sometimes you know how it has been lately where we had a bunch of these events. It's like, wait, what happened that time? And when was the last time everything shut down? I need a graphic now. The last 5 times the metro, shut down. You know what I mean? Where everything stopped for a day. So I'm going to make a graphic for that. So
that'll be fun.
Easy to reference.
Yeah.
I
like that.
All right, so then this graphic, if you're just listening and not watching, snowiest Februaries. So we've got the top 5 here. The number 1 spot, 1949, we got 13.2 inches of snow in Portland in February. Pretty impressive. And then we were talking about 2023 quite a bit. That was second, and then it just kind of goes down from there. So point being, we can get some snow action in February. This graphic is showing us rain. So total February rain in Portland so far, or I guess we don't have
last year.
Yeah, sorry. 2024
I think it's
last
0.18.
year.
Yes, it is. I
Oh,
did feel
for
it
this year
morning.
so far.
Katie knows. 0.18.
I just pulled it
Nice.
up.
Well,
Yep.
there you go. So average is about 3.7, and we got more
So,
than average
yeah, that
last
one-
year.
Oops.
Sorry, yeah.
Uh-oh.
It didn't. So it got overwritten, and I didn't realize it until it was too late. So just pretend that 3 is an 8.
We're moving on then.
Yeah.
Ignore what you've seen.
That's enough
Yes.
February climatology. Next.
Yes. Next
Oh.
is what we have coming down the pipe.
This is why you're really listening, right? Or
Yep.
watching. We really recommend you watch because otherwise we're referring to all these graphics. So I listen only to hear what we sound like and I have a long commute, so I have nothing else to do. But yeah, you should
Or
be watching.
maybe drive.
Okay, here we go, folks. Hardcore. So we've had an upper level low sitting offshore since what, Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now it's basically going to get absorbed and pulled back into in general, the flow is coming down from the northwest. We've switched from, remember in January, we had ridging pretty much along the west coast or slightly off the west coast.
Mm-hmm.
Now that ridging is generally farther west, which now has opened up the back door here. Not really the back door, but I guess just coming in the side screen door here, coming down the Alaskan and Canadian coastline. So this is a very cool flow of air for us. And when that happens, we're always watching to see if one of these little upper level short waves, we call them little wiggles in the flow, if one of those might dig extra deep, like the one that just formed offshore, bring snow showers to sea level, or does it plunge all the way through us and bring cold, dry Arctic air from the north at the surface? So this is just the pattern. And boy, this says La Nina. It's amazing how we had more of an El Nino type pattern all through November, December, and January. And then suddenly February hit and La Nina's on. All right. So this low that's been sitting offshore, it's going to get absorbed, moved off to the east. There's another little wave coming down. That'll give us some showers on Saturday. So here's the animation. Now we go through Monday evening. So you see how it evolves. Okay, here we go. One more time. Okay, here we go. Ridging gets a little stronger to the west, and then there's some digging over us coming down from the north. So I have the last image right there. So then we end Monday evening. Looks about like this. All models in great agreement through this time, folks.
Mm-hmm.
High pressure to our west. It looks like a shot of cold air is coming in from the north, a reinforcing shot of pretty chilly air from the north. Notice in this case, the trough isn't digging offshore. It's coming straight down over us. So then it doesn't really pick up much of any moisture. In fact, I just finished the forecast, the new one I'll do this afternoon, and I left the showers off of Monday. I just said mainly dry.
Did? Okay.
Well, we have that coming up. There's a special edition you have not seen yet.
Oh.
Folks, this will be the first time you see the brand new 7-day forecast.
Yeah, because when the morning runs, not these afternoon ones, they still showed it turning wet
On
late
Monday?
Friday night. Oh, no, I'm sorry,
I'm talking
Monday.
about
Monday. Gotcha. Monday. Okay.
But you're right. Yeah, no, we're still good for Friday night, Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is generally this pattern. If you just look at the upper level pattern, you don't look at any surface charts, you don't look at any preset maps from models. This is a pretty dry pattern for us, just cold and dry. Although not excessively cold. For example, last January when we had the big freeze that came down, from the north, the blue areas here, the 525 heights, they were all the way over here into British Columbia. There was a very sharp cold trough swinging by. Okay, so that's Monday. So if we look at precipitation, let's see. Sorry, gotta look. The letters are very small.
The letters are so tiny.
Well, luckily, I have my cursor to guide you, folks.
Yeah.
This is the European ensemble chart for 24-hour precip. This is from last night's run. That's the latest we have. The GFS, the latest run we have right now. And we're recording this, by the way, on Thursday midday. You'll probably watch this afternoon or into Friday morning. GFS ensemble run for the next 15 days, both of them. The thing I pointed out here is the blue lines. That's where we tend to have areas of precip. Notice there's pretty good agreement on the Euro that Friday night into Saturday morning, there's going to be some precipitation. Not a lot, though. 1 or 2 tenths. Seems to be pretty good agreement on that. The average is 3 tenths, 2 tenths. And then it's kind of dryish. There's a lot, a lot of dry ensemble members here. We got the 50 different ensemble members. I mean, really through this whole period, through about Wednesday, most ensemble members are drier. They just have really light stuff. Yeah, it's kind of the same here.
Yeah.
A lot of dry on the GFS. So there's pretty good agreement, I'd say, through about next Tuesday. So I feel comfortable through Tuesday, forecast-wise. Quite a few members beyond that time are kind of wet. Quite a few members on the GFS also wet. And both of them, you see the averages down here go up as well. So I think we have big messages. We've got 1 week system, Friday night, Saturday. Then it's mostly dry. It seems like Sunday through Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. And then we could be going into wetter stuff heading towards Valentine's Day. Okay, so that's the precip. So if we just look at the precipitation, this is ending the European model. This is this morning's run. And we look at it for precipitation only. What's that? 0.1 to 0.2 in Northwest Oregon, Southwest Washington. Pretty weak, right?
Yeah.
And this is ending, I have my little camera light in the way, but I think it's ending, is it ending at 15Z on
14Z
Saturday?
Yes, 14Z Saturday.
It's pretty much done at that time. There's not much left. That's the European. Our graph model, it gives a little more. Notice it has 2/10, 3/10, 4/10 here, ending at 8 a.m. Saturday. So if you've got that much precip, 4/10, so that's a little more. Not much wind. A southerly breeze picks up a little bit, not much though. And it has temperatures just above freezing. So we're in that marginal zone again, just like yesterday. So it tries to generate an inch of snow. We'll see. It's pretty marginal stuff. Okay, so that's the graph. Oh, notice Saturday, even if we were to get some snow on the grass Saturday morning, I could see that happening, especially on the hills. Where I live at 1,000 feet, I might have an inch or so again. It's possible. But notice we're back up in the low 40s again Saturday afternoon.
It's pretty much just the same sort of setup, right? Just not really.
Except, although this is an organized system, it's not really showers. Okay. So it's a little more stratiform. We call it precipitation. And you notice the graph, it did slow down the arrival. It was trying to bring it in tomorrow afternoon, Friday afternoon, and now it's coming in during the night.
Overnight. Yeah.
So it does keep us cloudy during the night, Friday night. So we don't get any, overnight freezing Friday night into Saturday. Now, Katie, here's the deal. I notice our Prism model, which exports our imagery, is having issues again. And so I had to go rerun this. Is it actually, did it look about like this on the graph this morning? I mean, I'm sorry, I have it blocky. I took the smoothing off. But was it like this? Were there lots of holes, or did it have a widespread area of 1/2 inch?
No, I don't think it was filled in.
Okay, so this is real.
Yeah.
So there you go. Again, this is really weak stuff. Wharf GFS, now it has more precip. This is snowfall. It thinks there could be a spot that gets 5 inches in between Salem and Portland.
Whoa.
It just has a little spot of heavier precip. We'll see. The blue was 2 inches or more.
Okay.
So it paints a little more widespread stuff. So it thinks it'll be a little cooler, I guess.
What time is this ending?
This is ending Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
It would all be, by 10 a.m. Saturday, whatever happens would have happened, I suppose.
Yeah.
Big picture, if we look through the next 2 weeks, this is 850 millibar temperature, so temperatures around 5,000 feet in Celsius. 0 would be like past elevation snow way up here where my cursor is. Notice almost the whole time the next 2 weeks, it's past elevation or lower for snowfall.
Yep.
The solid blue line is the European. This was last night's run. Solid blue line, it gets down. Last night, European had a very cold air mass coming in next week, -10 to -15, which is pretty much guaranteed snow if there's precip. The averages are green, so the average is better to go with. But notice even the average is -8 to -10 from Sunday through Tuesday at least. So it's going to stay chilly. I think that's a big message. Even later next week, heading towards Valentine's Day, it's still around -5 all the way through Valentine's Day. That's pretty cold. We couldn't even get down to that in January or December. December, we had trouble getting to -5 at all. I don't think that happened at all. And just for the little dash line that's red, that's about, if you have onshore flow snow showers, you want the 50 millibar temperature to be -7 to -8 at least to start seeing some snow either in the air or sticking. So notice through about Valentine's Day, it's pretty much below that, near below that number. So basically, we're going to be flirting with snow chances maybe up to Valentine's Day or somewhere in there through late next week. And
but
I didn't throw any. Oh,
I was going to say, but still nothing looks like it would be a shut the city down kind of thing. It'd be kind of more.
Well, funny you ask, Camilla. It's almost like we set you up with that, but we didn't. So here's the European 24-hour snow forecast from last evening's ensembles, the 50 different members. And we've got this, I thought maybe there'd be a little bit from last night and this morning. That was just the leftover overnight showers. Yeah, obviously that didn't do anything. Here's a Saturday thing. Really weak stuff. All right. Keep in mind that when it snowed, when we had the snow in the air and patches of snow yesterday, Wednesday morning, this was all blue for Wednesday morning. So again, I think global models overdo those onshore flow snow showers. So it's got even less than what it had Wednesday.
Okay.
That's why I'm not too excited about Saturday.
Yeah.
Quite a break here. And then you do see, so here's the deal, and I'll explain why it shows this. Notice a lot of these don't show any snow late next week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday's the 14th, Valentine's Day. But a few that do are kind of interesting because the few that do are pretty big with snow. You see some pinks
that's
in there?
in like the 9 and 10 range, right? Is that what it's 11?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wow.
And so what are they seeing? Here's the upper level flow. This is from this morning's Euro run. This is just the operational, not the ensemble, but I'm showing this to make a point. This is for, I can't read it on the upper right. I've got my light in the way. Is this Wednesday?
Thursday, 18Z.
Yeah, 18Z.
Oh, the 13th. Okay. So the 13th has got another cold trough trying to dig out to the west here. At the same time, this wave has come by an undercutting flow, we call it, underneath that upper level high. So you've got one thing going on here coming by. There's cold air up here, the cold, moist showers. And so you've got this, look at this, what a mess. So you've actually got two systems, a cold system with snow to sea level here, and then you've got this thing coming into southern Oregon. Every model has this low at a different place. Some have only one low, and if there's a big snowstorm over us with east wind, notice this is cold easterly flow at the surface right now. This is Thursday, the 13th. So we have no idea how the second half of next week is going to play out. The point is there could be interaction between the cold air that's over us the first half of the week and moisture undercutting the ridge. There could be a significant snow or ice storm as we head towards Valentine's Day. It happened in 2021. So we don't know. It's too early.
Boy.
And that interaction of the cold northerly flow going around the ridge and the westerly flow. Actually, let's back up because I can go through right there. Yeah. So this is a GFS, but the Euro has like waves coming underneath and interacting with the cold air. That's actually how we get our big storms. So, well, something to watch, but we don't have any strong indication that, oh my gosh, a storm that's going to shut down the city is hitting late next week. But the possibility is there.
Yeah. Okay.
And Katie put these in. These are good. This just goes through the next 15 days. So this takes us through what, the 20th? Yeah, about the 20th. Yeah, this goes past 10 days. Yeah, 10 to 15 days. This is the Euro. And just watch the Northwest. Otherwise, your eyes will start kind of crossing here. But notice blue is over us most of the time, which means below average heights. This is that classic La Nina pattern. That was the Euro. Here's the GFS. Same thing, same general idea. Troughing over us, ridging, wanting to be around Alaska. Waves coming at us from the west. So this interaction of moisture and cold air is probably going to continue for another week or two.
Did you keep there it is, the GFS.
Yeah. And so here's our current 7-day forecast.
Well, not current, because you said you took it off on Monday.
Oh, you're right. Oh, yeah, you're right. We got rid of those showers on Friday. Yeah. Well, no, actually, they're still on there, or did you get rid of them? Oh, Monday.
Monday.
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
no, I left Friday.
This is what's being played right. And this is what Drew is showing today at noon.
Yep.
And here's mine. Oh my gosh, I can't even read that stuff.
No, you know what though? I look at this every morning. That's part of my routine is I grab my coffee cup and my warmer and your forecast from the night before, and then I start comparing things. So,
you know, in school, no kid really, I mean, art is a good class. Most people love art. They're pretty creative. I was probably the only kid in high school. I remember I got a C or a D in art, probably a C. I was kind of lazy too. I didn't get my projects done, but I was terrible at drawing and stuff there. So there you go.
So you have us dropping colder. I was looking at that because you had us in the upper 20s, but now you're saying mid-low 20s.
Now that it looks maybe clear, and there's not that much east wind. Notice it's flat flow Sunday, but there's plenty of moisture around, so a lot of cloud cover. So I only went 30 for a low. Monday, why did I go? Oh, because we have drier air that's come in a bit. Actually, I don't know why I went that low on Monday. Yeah, it would have to clear any of these nights to get those cold temps. But then Tuesday, Wednesday, it looks pretty clear. Yep. So if we're going to be that cold with northeasterly flow. But notice the gradient, that's the easterly flow out of the gorge. It never gets strong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's there.
I was hoping you would explain that for people watching this. And they're like, what do these numbers mean? So yeah, when you put the little equal sign down there on the panel, that means flat flow. And then you've got the pressure gradients. Yeah.
4 millibars through the gorge Monday night, Tuesday. Then it weakens. And then we don't know, with that big mess offshore, we don't know what's happening late Wednesday and Thursday. But since we don't have a strong east wind coming out of the gorge, that means PDX, if we get the clear skies and we know it'll be cold and dry, cool and dry air mass, should easily back, like we had a week ago. Was it 2 weeks ago, back in the mid-20s at night. So as of now, I don't see a huge Arctic blast. So that's good. I was hoping to avoid that this year for my plants. They didn't like that last year. And then just since we have no idea what's happening next Thursday, I just put in showers possible. Some moisture may be returning. Kept us cool. Wow, average highs in the low 50s. by next week. So low to mid 40s is the best we can do. I mean, that's colder than anything we had in January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. I was so excited we returned the term of the week to our, and I had to find
There we
something.
go.
Yay! I had to find something that went with the forecast and what we've been dealing with. And so, for those of you that don't know, as one of the things I started doing when I moved into the mornings is every day that I can, right after the 11, I go over to the digital desk and I do an extended, more in-depth weather coverage on our streaming channel. And we got to talking about types of snowflakes, and so thus spawned my idea to
that's
do.
how it came. I was wondering because when Katie said term of the week is dendritic crystal, I was like, what?
What?
When would this have come up?
WTH, as they say.
Gosh, it just made me laugh so hard.
Katie, learn us something here.
Well,
Yeah.
I let Camilla do it.
Yeah, well,
What?
I did. So,
Oh.
well, you know, I mean, Mark saw me. I was like looking stuff up last night.
that's
And
right.
I was like, all
Yeah.
right. I remember hearing about the different crystals, the different snowflakes in one of my classes recently.
Yep.
But I couldn't remember. And I was surprised to re-find out that there are like 30 to 40 plus different types of crystals out there that form what we call our snowflakes. But dendritic crystal is maybe the most picturesque one, the one that, if you're cutting your snowflake out of paper and making a pretty snowflake, you're basically modeling it after dendrites.
Over on the right there.
Yeah, so there you go. And that's cool. And so how do these different crystals form? It has, there's several factors, but temperature is a big one, kind of dictating what shape you're going to get. So pretty cool. I don't know if you want to go more in depth with that graphic.
Well, I'm reading it. It says they tend to develop when the crystal grows by vapor deposition at temperatures within a few degrees of minus 15,
Celsius,
providing saturation as close to the supercooled water.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I see. That's clear. Hope everybody got that. I like how Katie comes up with this and she says, here, you do it.
Because I want to share the love. And so I messaged her and I said, hey, I want you to, to take part in this. And so
I appreciate it. But I did tell her, I was like, I will be doing some research.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this?
So
Wilson.
this is the thing is, I can't see it from the top. It had his name.
It does have his name.
It's small.
Bentley.
Wilson, yes.
Wilson Alwyn Bentley.
Snowflake Bentley, as he is affectionately
I see
called. Yep. So this is a website. I think it's just snowflakebentley.com. And it goes through how we learned about this specific, the dendritic crystal, and how we found that none are the same. He just got extremely obsessed with it, very fascinated, and wanted to capture it. And I think he got it back. It was like, was it 1886? I think is when he finally was able to figure out. He worked for like 2 years with his camera and this like plate, and it was black velvet or something like that.
Right.
And how he got the camera, and there's a whole picture library of all the snowflakes and so basically he just sort of is like the father of the snowflake.
Created
Katie,
the classification system. Cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I noticed it says he's a farmer from Vermont. I can imagine as a farmer in Vermont, there's a lot of spare time for about 4 months of the year when all it does is snow and you're not doing anything in the ground. So, hey, let's get a piece of black velvet and check out all these different snowflakes. I wonder what his wife thought.
He was absolutely obsessed with photographing them. So
Wow.
if you want to see and read, I suggest you go to snowflakebentley.com because it's pretty cool if you're winning.
Who knew? Snowflake Bentley, all one word, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I learned something today.
Well, we sure did.
It's
That's
pretty
good
fun.
stuff.
Viewer photos. I was thankful that Peyton put this together because I was having a hard time going through and deciding which ones to show. So she took some stress off of me. The snow at the beach. How fun. You guys were probably sleeping. We ran a story this morning about surfers in Pacific City.
We ran it last night.
Yes. Oh my goodness. How fun is that? Snow on Haystack Rock. But for those of you that might be like, wait, I thought that was up. Yeah, there's 3 Haystack Rocks for lack of confusion. That one used to be called like Chief Kawanda was the original name of the Haystack Rock
This one.
in Pacific City.
Oh, this is
No,
not
that's
the Cannon Beach
that's
one.
the Cannon
This
Beach
one is
one.
Cannon Beach.
That
Okay.
one's Cannon Beach. The guys surfed at the one in Pacific City, and then the other
Here.
one's down in like Bandon. Yeah, that's the dune. So the haystack is off to what would be our left. It was looking at
Right.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, and folks were down there. I saw videos from Pelican is down there, and
Yeah,
so
the
they
pub.
had the
Yeah.
pub there. People were out drinking their beers at the pub, watching it snow on the beach. Like,
Nice.
That's great.
it
You know,
was
that's
so
one thing
cool
we
over
didn't
there.
really bring this up when we talked about the recap of the winter weather. So back on, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm sorry, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, there just wasn't much moisture. I think Portland only had 1/100 of an inch of precip, but where the showers were heavier, there was plenty of snow. Astoria had snow both Tuesday and Wednesday mornings,
Mhm.
and Long Beach had up to 6 inches of snow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it. It's not just about how cold the air mass is. There has to be good solid precip in these
Mhm.
onshore flow snow showers to get snow to drive it all the way to either sea level or the valley floor. I mean, that camera, each time I would go to the seaside camera, Monday and
Mhm.
Tuesday afternoons, it was
Mhm.
always colder than the Portland metro temps because of those
Yeah.
constant showers that kept going through.
It was this morning too. And I didn't put it in here. I wanted to, but I didn't. I got a time lapse. You guys can check it out when you come in.
I saw it.
With the frost.
Oh, cool.
It was
Yeah.
so cool. I put it on, and the girls at the desk, their jaws just dropped. It was so fun because it was so clear. You could see the frost underneath the street light, and then you just see it growing and moving all down the sidewalk.
I saw
It's
it.
awesome.
It was like the angel of death creeping towards the camera. It was very strange.
It was really, really cool. So I tried to get
Icy death.
the snow falling yesterday, but all of our coast cameras just kept black, white, black, white, black. Like they just kept
Oh, I
going
saw your
in and
time
out.
lapse. I almost had a seizure.
Oh.
Did you see that?
I was trying. I was trying to like cut it and like. It was
What?
frustrating.
I'm sorry. This one took me out just now.
It's so gross. Somebody, for those of you watching and are listening and not watching, somebody took snow and shaped it into a foot, and then put a foot of snow in Longview.
And it's kind of realistic. I mean, if you just glance
Yeah.
at it really fast, I'm just like,
Sure.
what is happening? Someone's severed
Yeah.
foot is on my screen right now.
Frostbite.
Go ahead.
That's frostbite.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a little backstory to this. So, I'm in a hurry. This is on Tuesday, I believe. No, this was on Wednesday. Was this yesterday? We have so many shows, I forget what day was what. But yeah, it must have been yesterday. And my producer, Aliana, during the 4 says, hey, come on over to the desk. We'll start weather over there. And I'm like, okay, usually I don't stand that close.
Yeah.
And I hear Nora say there's no video yet. And Nora says, a foot of snow fell in Longview today.
Oh,
And
no.
they did that purposely to see my reaction behind the scenes. And I'm like, it did not. Did I miss it? And then I'm thinking all these, like, within 10 seconds, all these thoughts are going through my head. Like, wait, did I miss something? No, there's no way. It must be in the hills above Longview. Yeah, I'm getting ready to tell them, oh, this must have been in the hills. We know Longview didn't get a foot of snow. And then suddenly it appears and they laugh at me. They wanted to see. Nora said if you could have attached a blood pressure monitor to me, she could tell it was going through the roof. Like, what? Fake news. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Well played.
Good
Yeah,
job, Bob.
that
was
Well, I don't know
played.
if Bob took this picture or also created the snowfoot, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
if you ever have pictures you want to share, yeah, you just go to our app, which is the best way. Our bosses, in fact, sent an email about that saying, please mention the app. And so,
Yep.
yes, our app is the easiest way, but you can go just to our website. You can do it there.
Nobody
If
does
you're
it
a desktop
anymore, Mark.
person, yeah.
I do that. I always have to, because I have to look at my big weather maps. I hate looking at the little maps on my
Oh,
phone.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm just
drives me
saying
nuts.
pictures. Everybody snaps it with their smartphone and
Mhm.
sends it to us.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know, so we changed things up a little bit this week. Katie's running the show here,
Yes.
but our time is almost right on. We usually end around 35 to 40. It's been about 35 minutes.
Yay.
What do you
See?
know?
I know how to
Katie-
keep it short when I need to.
I would say 10 out of 10, you get an A+. plus.
Yay. I get an A in school.
She probably already did. Always did.
Yes, I bet.
I cried if I got a B. Let's be
Oh
honest.
my God, same.
My husband was like, I'm like, I just did terrible. And he's like, what'd you get? I'm like, an 88.9. He's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yep.
get away from me.
I got a lot of B's and C's.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Wow.
my dad said he got F's and D's, fines and dandies.
I like that. I haven't heard that
Nice.
before.
Yeah. So okay, well that wraps it up. I think from now on we're kind of gonna go back and forth, right, between Mark and I kind of sharing, putting this together. So sometimes you'll see me, sometimes you won't, but you'll get good information either way. So we thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed my first produced podcast. And if you have any suggestions, email me. I'd love to put in things that you would like to hear about, both on this and on that extended weather coverage that I do on Fox 12 now. So you can catch that most days right after the 11 on that Fox 12 app or on YouTube, on our Facebook page, or everything. And we did live questions yesterday. We did a Facebook Live and let people ask live questions. So that was really fun. I told him, I says, I probably don't know as much. Well, I just say probably said, I don't know as much as Mark, but if I don't know the answer, I'll ask him and get back to you.
Nice. You can always just bluff your way through it.
Yeah. What is it?
Also known as BS your way through it.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
So, okay. Well, that's it. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. And we look forward to seeing you again next time.
See ya.
So stop your waiting and hesitating and tell us, please tell us